Now we're pulling into one of our farms here in eastern Hillsborough County. This is the farm known as the Futch Farm, and this is property that we've had for a few years and lease out to one of our growers here, Fancy Farms, who operates it. Yeah, this Florida strawberry season got off to a really fast start in November and December this year. The problem with all of that was this record heat that we had has caused the plants to become a little vegetative. So many times when you start really early in the fall on strawberries here in Central Florida, you end up having this gap period, and that's pretty much what we're in now. The plants grew a lot of foliage back with all the warm weather, but weren't putting on berries. But fortunately, early January, we did begin getting cold weather, and it's cool now. You can evidence it by the fact that I'm wearing a jacket, because I wouldn't have been wearing one back in the fall. But the plants now have starting to get back in a bloom cycle, and you can see some of these plants are starting to put on all these new flowers. But this fruit is probably a month away during this time of the year, so we're going to see probably another nice push. Unfortunately, I believe we're going to miss the Valentine's Day holiday. The one thing, advice for retailers about the upcoming Valentine's Day holiday is I'd be a little cautious about being on a very aggressive ad for this year, because of the fact that we don't have a lot of fruit coming. These plants, as you can see, don't have a lot of green berries on them. They are beginning to bloom back now, so those flowers will more than likely be after the Valentine's Day push. The good news is what we do see in terms of flowers right now, there's some really big blooms here. So there is the possibility that we'll be able to do some long stems in advance of that first fruit that comes on these plants. But there's not going to be the normal push of berries in the Valentine's Day window that we normally would have. Yes, I'm very optimistic right now that the plants are in good shape, and that we're set up to have a good close to the season the last 2 months in February and March. Unfortunately, we did experience this little gap period here in January due to all the heat that we had back in December, but the weather now is very favorable, and the indications are the season should close really strong. Yeah, this year it's also different. Like in maybe 18 years, you have this El Nino effect that we're experiencing. While we may be a little wetter here, so is Southern California. Florida's sandy soil here has a little bit better ability to weather that kind of amount of rain. California's acreage is down in Southern California, which should give Florida growers an ability to market a little bit longer into March than what has been historical in recent years. Yeah, so this fruit is not the largest fruit that we've had throughout the season, because we are in that gap period right now. But it's nice shape. Its colors, is about as good as we're going to get right now with the cold weather that we've had. That looks like should be good. The cold weather has brought up the sugars in the fruit, and the berries are tasting much better now than they were when the weather was hot. Yeah, that's one I would take home.